Okay guys, so in this video we're going to be going over basic defensive strategies from your primary leg entanglements. So starting out, if your partner has you in ashi, and again I just kind of think decision tree in my mind, the first question we ask is, does he have the heel or does he not have the heel? Assuming he does not have the heel, the number one thing we're going to start doing is putting the boot on, drawing our toes towards our knees, making any kind of upper body contact we can if possible, and kicking through. The deeper I get my foot, the better off I am. Small detail, anytime you're trying to protect your feet, I never want my toes rolling behind him because that exposes my heel. I want to be turning toes out, so if he starts reaching back to try to transition to heel hook, he's going to have a harder time grabbing that. From here, I need to get this foot off of me. This foot serves as a block to keep me from coming up on him, so I'm thinking about stripping this off and then hopping over. Once I hop over, my foot's cleared, he no longer has knee line, I can rotate freely and I can start transitioning to come up to a top position right here. Now, if he finds a heel hook, so he's grabbed our heel, we're in trouble, unless you watch this video. So we're gonna put the ballerina toes on. So instead of putting the boot on, once he grabs a heel hook, we're trying to make our foot as straight as possible, really exaggerating how much you're pointing it down, because now if he starts rotating, it's a little more difficult for him to get the bite, and we may be able to heel slip and get the heel to the ribs. But if he has a really good bite, that's where this extra foot comes in, or this free foot. I'm going to post on his butt, and as I begin rotating, keeping that ballerina foot on, and I'm extracting like a corkscrew. So as I push with my free leg, I'm pulling with my attacked leg, rotating, and I want to finish chest towards my opponent. Even if I feel the leg clear while I'm belly down, I don't want to stop there because I'm giving him the opportunity to climb up on top of me or take my back. We always want to finish facing our opponent. Now, going into outside ashi, we're hanging out here. The barrier here is both of these feet. If he has the heel hook, we're going to play outside ashi escapes just like we would play traditional ashi escapes, pointing the toes down, posting on the butt, extracting, rotating, ending facing my partner. If he hasn't got the heel hook yet and he's just chasing a straight ankle lock, same concept. We're drawing the foot up, driving the heel to the ribs, but now this time instead of clearing the low side leg like we would in traditional ashi, we're clearing the high side leg. I'm scooting my hips out as I bump this leg forward, and now I have his foot off of me. From here, I want to get my chest to his thigh as quickly as possible, grabbing the neck and climbing myself on top. If you see my foot back here, what I like to do just so he can't start going inverted and getting on my leg, I want to cross my ankles and then use this like I'm doing a kickback to extract this foot, and now I'm in a top dominant position. If we find ourselves in saddle, we're hanging out right here. We've got two primary things we're focusing on, largely depending on how much stress we're under. If he begins scooping this foot off the mat, we really don't want to start rotating with a heel hook here because we're putting ourselves in backside 50-50. So the first thing whenever we're in saddle that we think about, we're getting our feet as wide as we can so he doesn't have access to this foot, and we're putting all the weight in our big toe. From here, my weight's in my big toe. I want to use my elbow to clamp on his thigh and build a wedge right here. So now if he starts trying to roll to his right to get this up, we're in a strong position. At this point, I can take my free leg, begin stepping on the cross of his ankle, and as I rotate, I'm extracting and pulling away. Now say we're a little slow on the punch there, and he starts floating this foot. We can no longer do that, so what I'm looking for now is to get my chest to the high side of his thigh. If I'm low side of the thigh, wedged in below his shin, he can start getting access to my foot. If I'm able to get my chest up to his thigh and grab the collar, even if he begins falling back, I can use this foot to float up and over, finding myself in a top dominant position. Now, if we find ourselves in 50-50, so now we'll transition to 50-50. If we find ourselves in 50-50, again, I don't want to roll from here because if I roll once he grabs the heel hook, I'm putting myself in backside 50-50. The number one thing I tell guys I coach is keep your legs crossed. Outside foot over inside foot, extending your legs. This is one of those things where preemption is defense. If he happens to get the heel break right here, get the slip right here, grab your heel. I want to put ballerina toes on, start trying to drive my heel to his ribs, and getting my foot to the inside, scooping at his elbow, forming a block right here. So I'm driving my heel to the ribs as I rotate, keeping this as a wedge so he can't get a good bite on his heel hook, and then reconnecting right here. Also, a thing I always focus on when I'm talking to my guys through 50-50, we don't have to be in 50-50. This is a neutral position. All you have to do to make this favored to you, start feeding their feet over to one side, and now you've quickly went from being in a mirrored position to a position where you're dominant. So if you need to get the heel slip from 50-50, feel free to. But if you're able to get it off to one side, start attacking from here. To me, I would much rather do this because now he's under threat and I'm not. And I'm always trying to make it an uneven competition if possible. Backside 50-50 and leg knot, which we went over in the original video on all of our leg positions. I tell my guys not to try to escape those. Those are dead end positions. If you got caught there, you got in trouble. It's just jiu-jitsu. Don't get your leg blown up trying to get out of a submission. Just get better at not getting in those submissions. And then when it comes to knee bars, toe holds, anything of that nature, however he finds himself here, my number one job here, I need to disrupt his chest being 180 degrees opposite of my chest. I need to be trying to pull my knee out, and I need to be trying to rotate some way or another before he gets a solidified bite on me. Again, if I'm right here and he gets this just dead to rights, he's hugged and squeezed on here, I've probably just been too late. And that's the truth when it comes to deep submission escapes. But if I feel myself getting to this position and he hasn't locked it in yet, I need to recognize that my job is to begin rotating, even if it's just minimally, and then starting to extract that knee. So when it comes to defending your primary leg positions, those are my primary points of focus. Don't get yourself hurt, have fun.